Hi, I'm Ben from Sports Shoes and I'm here with HOKA's Harry Jones, and we're going to look at what's in the race pack for an ultra-distance trail race. Welcome, Harry.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, thank you.
So you've got your race pack with you.
Yeah.
And the first question I've got is, what size race pack would you need for an ultra-distance race around Mont Blanc?
Yeah, so you need quite a lot of mandatory equipment for the race, so probably around that kind of 10 litres. It really depends on how efficient you can be with your packing, but yeah, 10 litres, some people prefer a little bit more. Again, that depends on the weather conditions as well. If you need to have the kind of cold weather kit, they call it, you might need to be carrying a slightly bigger, heavier jacket then, so you might want some option there to have that extra capacity. But yeah, depending on the vest you got, a lot of them do have like a mesh pocket on the front these days where you can dash fits around there, so you can make it work for you.
And what I'm really interested in is not just the equipment that you've got, but where you pack that equipment as well.
Yeah, sure.
So perhaps what we could do is just sort of look at where things are positioned, and we'll take it out and we'll have a look at what goes where and what's in the pack itself. So should we start with the running poles perhaps?
So running poles, got them in the quiver here. So this is basically my preferred method for carrying poles. You see this on a lot of packs these days because it's just so efficient. You can obviously stash them in there and you just don't have to think about them at all. Feels quite cool as well, when you go to grab them out. But no, certainly, you can have them on your waist. You can have various attachments to packs, but when it comes down to it, this is the way I like it.
It's much easier for getting in and out.
Just easy in and out, and I think most thing, like I said, you can just forget about it then. Sometimes you might find if it's on your waist or anything like that, it might get in the way a little bit if you're running hard or your hands are flopping down a descent. This way, just set it and forget it,
Yeah. And then in terms of warm weather kit, things that you have to put on extra, does that go in the back or is it at the sides? What's the position of this?
For me, I generally try and put as much in the back as possible, try and like evenly distribute that. I mean, if we're going to go into my pack, at the top here, I've got my head torch.
You can pass them across if you want.
With it being a night race, of course, though, I'll be having that on for majority of the race to start with until I take it off later in the race.
Will you start with one on the head?
I won't start on the start line with one on the head. It's quite nice just to not have it on there right away, but what I'll probably do is either have it kind of stashed at an accessible pocket here at the back, so somewhere like that I can reach around and grab it easy, no problem, or again just in that kind of pouch pocket here where I don't have to unzip the pack. Obviously I don't want to be having to faff around to get it.
This is something that needs to be really accessible.
Definitely. Accessible to get in, but also when it comes to the morning and the daylight comes up, the first thing I want to do is take the headlight off my head, because you've been wearing it at that point for 8 hours or so. It feels great to have a free head again.
I can imagine. Liberating.
Yeah, definitely.
And what's underneath the head torch then?
So my jacket, again, this will be something that generally I probably would actually have in the stash pocket here. This is quite a good pocket that comes all the way around, so I can access it.
This is a fully waterproof jacket, it seems.
So this is the HOKA waterproof jacket.
And the tape seams are essential for when, it is really raining hard. You don't want any water or moisture coming into those areas where you've got, pressure points and kind of where the material joins together. So that's a great piece of kit.
So fully waterproof piece of kit, but again, super light, good enough to handle a pretty heavy downfall, no problem.
And that's fairly near the top or at the sides as well?
The top or the sides, but being with the weather that we're probably going to get, we're going to be guaranteed perhaps some rain at some point unless the weather changes. I'll make sure I have it on the outside of the pack there where I can access it rather than in the back.
And delving further into the pack then?
So further into the pack then, what I like to think about is obviously the order of things that you might need, basically.
Yeah, this is really important, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to be digging around in your pack for the thing that you are going to need most, and it'd be obviously right at the bottom. So next one for me then would be waterproof pants. Again, we're expecting some rain possibly. Generally, unless it's really heavy and it's getting cold, you can kind of manage without your waterproof pants in the summer rains. You're going up again 2,000 meter climbs or so you're probably going to get quite cold if you're not careful. So that'll be the next thing then, kind of rolled up. And again, seam sealed, same fabric as the top there. So really nice, efficient, good piece of gear. And then kind of next up really then would be is this big bit here, which is all the kind of mandatory bits and pieces that you may need bits of if you are if you're getting cold and it's really miserable weather, but again, it could be the stuff that you just never touch within the race. This just takes up most of the space in the pack for me, but it's like it's below the more essential items. Within here, I've got my base layer, I've got my hat, my glove. You need waterproof outer gloves for those as well. Some leggings there as well. So you've got 2 layers basically on your top and your bottoms.
And we just keep that in this sort of plastic wrap so that it just stays dry, obviously.
Stays dry. Last thing you want is to need these, obviously, and they'd be soaking wet. That'd be a nightmare. So
it's good preparation. Good tip as well. Yeah,
and also obviously you can do your best to get it as vacuum packed there as possible to take up a little less space.
That's good packing, yeah. I'd like to see your supermarket packing it. I'm sure it's very impressive.
Well, you know, plenty of years experience helping mum since a kid. Further in the pack then, lower down, I've got foil blanket and your bandage. It's a good useful piece of gear, and it weighs nothing. And quite often what I find in the UK is I don't actually take a foil blanket, but take like more of a heavier duty sleeping bag out in the mountains if it's a grim day, just because it doesn't weigh anything really, but you've got to have that peace of mind, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely have. Is there anything in the main section?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so spare batteries as well. That's obviously something you've got to have. This is on the front, so again, needs to be accessible. You don't want to be digging around your back for a spare battery, so I have that in the front pocket there from the start of the race. So that's for my main head torch, and now I'll make sure that I can do a quick change if I need to. The worst thing you can do is obviously have this and forget about being accessible, and if your head torch suddenly goes out on your pitch black trail, the last thing you want to do is try and change a battery in the dark. And then you need a spare head torch as well. You can go about that two ways. What I do is generally I'm very, very confident in the main head torch that I've got, and I've got a spare battery obviously as well. So I do carry the lightest backup.
Very much just as a safety option, isn't it?
This is a safety option, that's it, yes. This is worst case scenario. That fails, or if I'm out exposed somewhere for a lot longer than I plan to be for whatever reason, this is this is something just to kind of get me to that next aid station. I will have another head torch with my crew as well, just in case that one does pack up for whatever reason. You can obviously take a more dedicated backup head torch if you wish, and if you're going to be out there for 2 nights, which some people are, maybe worth having another battery as well in that drop bag perhaps, and Call My Air or somewhere like that. I'll have quite a small backup head torch just to try and save a little bit of that weight on the competitive edge of things.
And I've noticed you've got the water bottles as well in the front, nice and accessible as well. You've got 2, one either side?
One either side, so I'll always have a litre of water when I come out of those main stations. Generally what I'll do is have one with electrolyte kind of energy mix, just to make sure I'm keeping the hydration in the right place it needs to be, and then one with water too. That's a kind of the routine that seems to work for me. Maybe later in the race then I might end up picking up some Coke in it or something like that when things get desperate, as I'm sure lots of people do. But generally just try and keep things to what I'm used to and what I train with throughout.
And the final thing, Harry, is probably just the mobile phone, which obviously goes in the front of your pack.
So I just have mine in the front of the pack there. You've got to have a smartphone these days. So in the past you could get away with just a really tiny, I would have a very, very tiny phone which almost looked like a joke, which weighed nothing, but now you got to have a smartphone with a tracking app for running and everything else. So obviously just day-to-day phone you got there.
And that's the Live Run app, and you can also download that and follow your progress during the race as well. So that's a good one for people to download and have a look if they're interested in the ultra distance race around Mont Blanc. But no, thanks for that, Harry. It's been really useful. It's nice to know where things are positioned and go in the pack, as well as what you're carrying as well. And remember, if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, SportsShoes.com.